I don't believe in art. Okay, like I believe 70% of art is fraud. Okay,
I don't know that it's fraud, but I don't understand it, so I'm with you there.
But check this out. But I'm so skeptical that I did research. Okay, and we're sitting there going through the stuff with art, right? Where today total value of art in the world is $1.7 trillion. Okay, and Deloitte says that by 2026 it's going to increase by $900 billion. And there's a place in Switzerland called Geneva Freeport that holds $100 billion of art. 1.2 million pieces. They hold $100 billion in one building. You may want to show this building. That's the building. That building in Geneva Freeport holds $100 billion of art in that one building. Okay, and this is people that buy the art, that send it there, who never see the art to prevent from paying the taxes, and it's a form of a vault. So they don't buy it because I'm going to show it off at my house. They buy it as an investment purpose. They put it in. A lot of times, what a lot of billionaires and millionaires will do is they'll buy an art at $500,000. They'll send it there. They'll get a new appraisal to say it's worth $10 million, and then they'll give that art and donate it to a museum, and they get a $10 million write-off where they get to write off 30% of it. So there's a lot of different things with art. Yeah. But I'm really trying to see, maybe, Pat, you ought to give the people in the art world a break. So even this Salman Mundi thing that recently sold not Rushdie,
Salvador Dali?
It's not Salvador Dali. You can pull up the art piece that sold for $450 million recently. The guy from Saudi Arabia that bought it, Leonardo, what is it called? Salvador Mundi. So this thing in 1958 sold for 45 pounds. Then in 2005, it sells for $10,000 in New Orleans. Then a person comes out and says this was part of, the Queen of England's collection, and it's a real piece of Leonardo, and et cetera, et cetera. Next thing you know, it sells for $450 million by a person that nobody knows about, right? So, and then like 80% chance it's a fake and it's not real. So I really want to debate myself on this. I really want to convince myself that the CIA and the FBI and these organizations do a lot of good, where the net positive, it's a net positive than a net negative. I'm okay with, I'm not looking for perfection,
right?
But I want to be able to trust it. But man, it's very, very hard to do with the last few years on what's happened. My level of skepticism, it's so high, it's hard to believe how much good they do rather than how much bad they do to the world.
I can understand. I can totally understand. And I wouldn't disagree that I am also disappointed with what I've seen in the last, since I left in 2014. So what is that, 8 years? There's a couple of things you brought up 2 points, right? You brought up your own questions about the productivity and the constructive use of the intelligence services. And then you brought up the art thing as I think as a parallel. This has a very interesting story or a very interesting explanation. If we can get to it, I think you'd like it. But when it comes to the value of intelligence services, it's hard to assess the value when you only see the cost of goods sold, right? That's essentially what you're looking at. What the American people look at with any secret organization, they only see what they do wrong. They only see the things that costs money. They have no idea the lives that are saved. They have no idea the tragedy that's avoided. They don't get those stories. I love Jonah. She's a great lady, a great patriot, a great CIA officer. But she embellishes sometimes what it's like to be at CIA. That's an old school tactic. We like to overreach in our gray hairs, always overreach and idolize what it's like to be CIA. Part of it's because that's how they were conditioned while they were there. Part of it's because they always want to be pitching people back. Right? The more accurate way of saying it, she was right about the curiosity and she was right about the competition. She was right about all that. But we absolutely celebrate our victories. We just don't do it publicly. We have margarita machines inside CIA. We'll shut down offices for half a day. We'll put them on skeleton crews just so we can celebrate the fact that we just avoided a civil war in Niger. Right? Absolutely. There's high fives all the time. People will sit in a bullpen. We have a bullpen not too different from this. And you'll sit together with a few people overseas and you'll be like, holy shit, guys, I think we just literally saved 10 American lives today. We just brought down a terrorist cell that no one even knows existed.
Without any specifics, how many times has that happened in your 7-year career when you were there?
It happened probably 3 solid times in my 7 years.
Where it could have been massively damaging to the world?
Where Americans would have been killed, innocent Americans would have been killed. There's a very clear example of that. There's a place where we would probably be 10 to 15 years behind where we are right now in terms of the global economic situation between China, Russia, and the United States, had one of our operations not happened. And then there was another one that was in Africa where it would have been like innocent non-American lives, but allied lives, Western lives, British citizens, Canadian citizens, a mix, just a group that was targeted by a fringe extremist group in Africa. So we have those victories. We celebrate those victories. We love those victories. We don't talk about those victories.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.